Happy New Year to all my real estate investors. It's the third quarter and it's new year for us because now is the time we set the plans to make a great quarter, January of 2025. Now's when we go to work. Hi guys, Happy New Year. No, you're not watching this particular podcast or listening to it a little bit too late after January, and I'm not too early. As we record, we are about 5 days from kind of the new year for a real estate investor. So we're going into September, and September, October, November, December. In the north part of the country, this is the best time when you can get into real estate. So think about it why. If you want to have a huge year next year, in January of 2025, guess what's going to happen? You need to get started today. So if you're planning on getting into real estate or you're planning on scaling your business going into the end of this year and going into next year, because there's a gestation period of about 45 to 60 days that most people have. Whenever you start anything new or you say, suddenly we're going to scale the business, guess what? You got to start buttoning down now. So you have Labor Day, Thanksgiving, you're going to have Halloween, you're going to have Christmas, you're going to have Hanukkah, you're going to have New Year, right? Lots of holidays and a lot of time that most people are going to be taking off. And for you to have a great February, March, April, and May, you want to make 500,000, 800,000 next year in terms of maybe flips, running a wholesale business. Now is the time to turn up the horsepower. Now is the time to go into beast mode and really start buttoning down what you're going to do. Or if you're a new investor, I know a lot of times if you're feeling in turmoil because we just ended kind of the DNC convention, there was the Republican convention, this is a year which is election year, and everybody's wondering where are the interest rates going to go? Guess what? It does not matter. As I speak today, interest rates have been coming down for the last month or so, but does it really make any difference? If the interest rates go back up to 7.5%, 8%, does it really make any difference? It doesn't. See, when the interest rates are going to come down, guess what's going to happen? More buyers are going to be available in the marketplace so they can buy your properties. They can buy your flips. There'll be more investors who will jump back in to buy the properties you may source as a wholesaler. There'll be more buyers for your flips. You'll be able to buy more rental properties that you may have thought, oh my God, I'm going to sit on the sidelines because the interest rates have been high. But guess what? For the last 5 or 6 months when the interest rates were high, if you had bought a bunch of properties, guess what happens as the interest rates go down? Well, your cash flow goes up. All throughout this time, depending on what part of the country you have been. If you have been in Florida, there's been a tremendous opportunity because there's a huge amount of inventory that is available. For every one property that is under contract in a place like Florida, you have 15 properties or so that are on the market, depending on what part of Florida you're in. So you have a tremendous opportunity to get deals that are off market or even deals that are in the MLS where you can negotiate tremendously great discounts because there's a lot of properties available. If you've been up north, depending on what part of the country you have been in, guess what it is? It's a great time to flip properties. Why? Because the inventory is low. Like if I look at today and I look at my flips, it'll be about 9 or 12, I think 10 to 12 flips this year will end up closing out. And on an average, each of those flips are making anywhere from 55 to close to $110,000. Average being somewhere around 70,000. I mean, what other business could you do 10 to 12 flips, make $7, $8, $900,000 a year? See, that is the unique part about real estate. That it's not based on how much money you have. It's based on, are you willing to learn how to source deals? Can't do that in the stock market. The prices are where they are. If today you went out and bought a share of a XYZ company, guess what you're going to pay? You're going to pay whatever the market bears that day. If you're buying cryptocurrency, no different. You buy and then you wait and you're hoping that it's going to go up. With real estate, it's very, very different. You could literally go buy a $400,000 property for 150, 160, 200,000. Why? Because the property is in distress. It needs work. The homeowner or the person selling the property is not a person that wants to keep the property in the current condition, or they may be losing the property. The reason why real estate is one of the best places, I like to call it the greatest equalizer. Why? See, because it doesn't matter if you're tall, if you're short, if you're old, if you're young, if you have money or if you don't, if you have credit or if you don't. The opportunity for a property to find a great deal is equal for you and it's equal for me. The only difference in the opportunity is whether you know how to find it. And the skill is not a skill that you are born with. That particular skill is a inherently learned skill set. See, if I can learn just as much as you know on a particular subject, right? And it's not based on that I have to be good at math. It's not based on how smart I am. All I have to know in real estate is what is the ARV, meaning the ARV or a back end value in a community, in a particular place. Now, all I have to do is go and find properties. And there are going to be three types of properties. One, where most investors are looking, most people are looking, that's going to be on the MLS, right? That's the place where you're going to end up generally paying the maximum amount. That's where amateur investors generally go to look for properties. Can you find deals? Absolutely. But are there other better deals to be had? The second level is you can go online. You can go to auction properties or you can go to county auctions. That's going to be the second layer. And then the third layer is going to be purely going off market, meaning properties that are not listed in the multiple listing service, properties that are not available on one of the online auction sites, or they're not available at one of the county auctions. Why do we call them off market? Off market meaning they are hidden. They're not being seen by the general public. So whether it's a property that is a property where the taxes haven't been paid for the last 4 or 5 years, and now it's going to go to deed, right? So it's going to be a tax certificate that's going to go to deed. Whether it's a property that is a probate where somebody passed away, that's there may be distress there. Where there's a property where it's an absentee owner where the person does not want to own the property anymore, or if it's a distress in terms of a pre-foreclosure, or it's a distress where somebody basically hasn't lived in the property or there's a tenant that's non-paying. All of those are going to be different forms of people that may not want the property and they're selling the properties at a huge discount. So how big a number is that? Well, in general, that is about 12% of the market, meaning of all the properties that trade hands. So if I look at the Chicago market, there'll be about anywhere from 150,000 to 250,000 sales in today's market. Those are the sales that happen through the multiple listing service, right? It's going to depend on what year, what's the economy doing, those kind of things. So if that sets the base level price, right, there's almost 12%. I mean, imagine this thousands and thousands of properties in any given market that are being sold, and they're interfamily sales, they're sales to other investors. These are properties that never hit the marketplace. Guys, if you're going to start looking, number one, start looking today. Double down, because the one thing that can help you really build wealth, that can help you really take your game to the next level is knowing how to go find properties that are at deep discounts. See, buying a property at retail price, putting 20% down, that is not investing. Investing is buying a property at a great discount, then on top of that, improving the property, meaning adding value to the property by improving the property so that if you're adding, say, 40,000 or 50,000 in terms of value, the actual retail value on that property goes up by 100, 150,000. That is investing. And then hopefully owning the property for long, long, long periods of time so that not only do you get the appreciation, you get to depreciate the property, you enjoy the cash flow on the property, and you enjoy the long-term wealth benefits of that particular property. See, now is the time to double down. Don't wait. Don't wait for the, oh my God, I'm going to start end of the year. Because guess what? If you're going to start end of the year, you're never starting. See, most people make a resolution when it's December 31st and January 1st. This year is going to be different than the last. And guess what happens? For 99.9% of people, those resolutions never happen because they don't start today. Today is the day. We're going in the back end quarter of the year. From if you start today, by the time you get the ball rolling, it's going to be September 5th, 6th, 7th. And by the time you find your first deal, it's going to be about 30 days, 40 days. Is it possible 60 days? Absolutely. By the time you close that deal, get paid as a wholesaler, or if you are going to start a flip, or if you're going to start building a rental portfolio, doesn't really matter. It's going to be well into November. And then we're going to go into December when your rehab is going on into January. Guess when is the best time to sell a property? It is in February, right? In a lot of the northern markets, the best time to sell a property is February 15th all the way through March, April, May, June. That's when end of June and is when the market stops. I know a lot of you are like, oh my God, Andrew, what are you talking about? We're middle of July. July is not a good time to sell properties. Guys, if you don't understand that, clearly you don't understand what are the high points in the market and how do you maximize value. So I wanted to congratulate you because if you are somebody who is serious about real estate investing, now is the time to start. This year is going to be interesting because it's another election year. And as we go into the election year, it doesn't matter if when Clinton came to power, didn't matter if it was Bush, if it was Obama, or it didn't matter if it was Mr. Trump, or it didn't matter if it's Biden. So it really doesn't matter if it's Trump or if it's Kamala Harris that gets into power, because guess what? You and I can each have our respective political opinions, but guess what? It doesn't matter because all you can do is vote. Do your civic duty and then move on with life. Because getting caught up with what's going on in politics, you and I can't change it. The only thing we can do is go vote and let your voice be heard. But beyond that, your future is not going to change unless you do, unless you take control and you say that it's not the politician, it's not the Democrats, and it's neither the Republicans. None of them are going to put a chicken in your pot at your home. This is just how the reality works. May not like it, but guess what? That's the fact. So the question is, and my challenge to you is, are you ready? I know I am. I know we're making significant strides and we're making big changes as we ramp up going into the next year. But the results that we want next year, guess when we have to have those in place. We need to start those systems. We need to start getting that engine moving. So by the time we get into November, by the time we get into December, we're at full steam. Because that's when the deals are going to start popping. And that's when in November, in December, in January, you're going to pick up some of the best of the best and the deepest discounts in the market. Now, if you are in the warmer regions, you said, Andrew, winter is some of the best times for us to pick up the property. My question to you is, do you have inventory that you can sell going into the winter market? Because your market may be exact opposite compared to the northern markets, like all the properties we own in Florida. Well, guess what? Now is the time, because guess when people are distracted? It doesn't matter if you're in Arizona. It doesn't matter if you are in Phoenix. It doesn't matter if you're in part of Nebraska, in Nevada, I should say Vegas, or if you're in Louisiana or in Florida. What matters is that while the election cycle is going on, while everybody else is distracted, and while the party, doesn't matter which party wins. If the Republicans win, guess what? The Democrats will want you to be depressed. If the Democrats win, the Republicans will want you to be depressed, because either way, they're going to say the other party is going to put you in a hell in a handbasket. So it doesn't really matter. The question becomes is, are you going to control your own economy? Or is a politician in the office going to control what happens to you? If you're going to put your faith in the politician to the office, in office, my friend, good luck. Because guess what? Doesn't matter if your party wins or not. You've got to win. And for you to win, the time to start is end of this month. We're literally 6-7 days away from the end of the month. And now is the time to double down, write your goals down, put it on paper, and let's put a business plan in place. So September 1st, that's the new year for an investor. That's the new year for business person. Because when are the goals set for next year? They're set today, and the work starts on it in September, October, November, and December so that you can have a great first quarter. Having said that, make sure you follow, you like, and you promote our podcast. It helps us grow. If you have any great guests that you think we would enjoy having on, you'd love listening to, make sure you let us know. This is Andrew Holmes with Cash Flow for Life. Talk to you soon.